Alright, the fourth quarter choke jobs continue, and it was the Bulls' turn to experience the winning side of it, because the Spurs started playing with their food in the third. They were up 19 early, so as expected, they got a little complacent, and the Bulls started getting layup line finishes to get themselves going, especially White. He kept beating players off the dribble or getting a run out, and even Vooch got some easy ones, so those two joined Levine to run it back in the fourth during his takeover. The Spurs were still up 15 at the start of that quarter, but they already gave the Bulls life to carry over from the third, and that's all they needed to run it back, because it translates to the other side of the ball just as much. The Spurs' offense got completely stagnant, so if it wasn't a tough jumper, it was a turnover, or even worse, a severe case of the free throw plague, and everything that could have went wrong. It was obvious they were on their heels throughout, and the only reason they were even afloat in the last 4 minutes was because of Chris's shot making. He's the big killer for a reason, but at least Vooch was solid at being up on those screens, and that two-man game with Wemby eventually ran dry, because nothing came out of it after that. They tried to give Vassell a couple touches, but it was more of the same, and if a possession ever results in a spray to Sohan, it's basically over, because that's just as bad as a turnover. They just got walked down by Levine throughout, then White and Vooch came around down the wire, and as I always say, momentum is a hell of a thing at the crib, so it was inevitable for the Bulls to win once that started snowballing. But it was a similar situation out in Sacktown, and the Heat were in control of that game in the third, then even got up 17 early in the fourth. A lot of it was stemming from their zone that they went to more late in the third, so they carried it over into the fourth, and those stops were generating pace for their quick buckets on the other end. But the Kings eventually cracked it by getting Ellis an open Tracy from the top that got him going, and more importantly, by crashing the O-board non-stop, because it's hard to track a player in a zone, so those started to add up. They capitalized on every single one, so those, combined with the whistles, just compounded for a gradual momentum shift throughout, and that did all the pace that he had, because they constantly had to take it out the net. They tried to go to hero for hero ball, but they basically got locked up by the Kings' half-court defense, and in both OTs, their best chance to win was Hawkes at the line in the first one. He could have put him up 3 with 3 seconds remaining if he didn't choke his pair, and he was just fortunate Ellis split his pair right after, because that probably would have iced the game. But they were in a disadvantage for a couple of reasons, and first was from the Kings having Domas splits every SNR, because that was forcing the rock out of their guards' hands, so Hero couldn't even do much. Then second was them not having a go-to shot maker, because both offenses were being reduced to ones, and they just didn't have someone to match Debo on bailouts. He single-handedly took the Kings home in double OT, and it was only fitting his dagger came off one final low board. Just watch the tape.
DeRozan shoots it. Laces it.